Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself.
A good education is the foundation for a better future.
This reminds me of a quote by Benjamin Franklin: an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. And this is what we are here for. Avenir 2021 is organized with a vision to empower and facilitate students to navigate their future and make their dreams real. Avenir 2021 holds significant prominence this year, as it is for the very first time that we go global and have student participation not only from the local Indian schools in the Sultanate of Oman, but also have students participating from the other school boards like CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE, and the IB, spanning across the MENA region and countries across Southeast Asia. Avenir is a platform where students will be empowered to confidently make wise career decisions. We see programs like Avenir 2021 playing a crucial role in guiding and shaping the future of the youth.
Good evening, everyone. We wholeheartedly welcome dignitaries from the Ministry of Education, Honorable Chairman, Board of Directors, Dr. Shivakumar Manikam, Senior Principal and Education Advisor, Board of Directors, Indian Schools in the Sultanate of Oman, Mr. M.P. Vinobha, and other esteemed members of the Board of Directors, distinguished officials from CBSE, renowned guests from the Indian Embassy, the President of the Indian School Wadi Kabir Management Committee, and other respected members of the committee, presidents of all the participating school managing committees, all principals, vice principals, heads of various departments, coordinators, teachers, parents, and all the enthusiastic aspirants. We cordially welcome distinguished members of the business community and members of the education cell. A very warm welcome to all present here virtually with us on day 4 of Avenir 2021, which is set to be a 9-day global career guidance program. This year, Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir is the proud torch bearer of this mega event under the auspices of the Board of Directors, Indian Schools in the Sultanate of Oman. The theme for today on day 4 is Cat's Eye. The cat's eye color, golden brown, reflects intrapersonal intelligence, which is related to self awareness and the ability to recognize one's strengths and weaknesses. Students having a high quotient of this intelligence can excel as researchers, philosophers, counselors, therapists. Welcome all once again.
Your hosts for this evening are Akshaya and Abbas Rizvi of Class 12 from Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir. Dear audience, it is our pleasure and privilege to have you all here with us on this journey of transforming your dreams into reality. Dear participants, you're requested to fill in the feedback form, which will be posted in the description box towards the end of the session. Filling this form is necessary as it will fetch you a participation certificate. Attendees, you're requested to post your queries in the chat box. It would be addressed by our distinguished guests during the Q&A session. Today, we are honored to have with us an eminent representative, Ms.Mubaraka Tyebbhoy from StudyCo.
StudyCo is a professional student recruitment and training company providing students and parents with current information about studies offered globally. Our renowned speaker, Ms.Mubaraka, will talk about everything you need to know to study abroad, StudyCo's complete guide. Ms. Mubaraka is the Regional and Business Development Manager for StudyCo in the Middle East. She is an extremely dedicated and committed human being who is approachable and ever ready to help us. Being born and brought up in Melbourne, she completed her Bachelor of Arts and her Master of International Relationships from the University of Melbourne. She speaks 7 languages and her focus is to develop culturally sensitive solutions to transcend physical barriers and create cross-border relationships. Ms. Mubaraka has a proven and practical approach specifically when it comes to education and training. She understands that these aspects are the basis of every successfully functioning society, socially, politically, and economically.
Now, I call upon our guest presenter for the session, Ms. Mubaraka from StudyCo. Over to you, ma'am, for your presentation.
Thank you very much, Akshaya and Abbas, for such a warm welcome, for being so excited. That makes me excited. So let's get started with our presentation now. I'm just going to share my screen. So if I can just hear a yes from Abbas or Akshaya that you can see it.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. All right, perfect. So what we're going to go through here is at StudyCo. So basically, we help you achieve your goals and study at your dream destination. And it sounds a little unreal that we can do all of this for you, right? So today I'm going to take you through everything you need to know to be ready to study abroad, no matter which country in the world you're looking at. It can be absolutely anywhere. So I'm sure that all of you have dreams, goals, and have thought about so many different things. Maybe you want to be a computer scientist in Canada, or maybe you're looking at studying medicine, becoming a doctor in Australia, or maybe you're looking at the accountancy field and want to stay a little bit closer to home. No matter what your dream, no matter what you want, I urge you to dream big. I did, and trust me, it does lead to better results. There's no such thing as a dream too big, because if you work hard to get there, you will find a way. So let's focus on what you're going to get from this session today. I've put it together here very simply in the form of 5 learning outcomes, so you know exactly what you're getting into and exactly what you're going to get out of it. So the first one is understanding the key factors involved in making a decision to actually study abroad. What do you need to know? What is there involved? The second thing is to become aware of the various entry requirements across different courses, countries, and fields of study. Obviously, this will be in a nutshell, and it's something that's on everyone's minds, and you kind of want all the information in one place. The third thing is to position yourself to be in the right place after you finish school to study your dream career at your dream destination. There really are no boundaries. The fourth is to gain clarity on course search, applications, visas, accommodation, travel, and health cover. Sounds complicated, yes, but don't worry, we'll break it down for you. And the final one is to manage your study abroad journey from beginning to end with the professional guidance of the StudyCo team. And we have offices in 25 plus countries, so we can help you for anything, anywhere in the world. Studying abroad can be daunting, especially when you hear a million different things from a million different people. Someone is telling you to sit that test. Someone is saying, oh no, you don't need that test. Another person's like, no, this country's better. Another person's like, no, that one, I went to that one. Well, I'm here to put all of you parents and students today at a little bit of little out there at ease. So yes, studying abroad can be a really complicated journey, but at StudyCo, this is what we do all day, every day. So I want to show you how we can guide you to make the best decision for yourselves, to make sure that you really do end up doing what you love for the rest of your life. So how can we make this life-changing decision of where to go, and what do we do when we get there? Because it is going to change your life. It definitely changed mine. First, we need to understand ourselves. Who are we? Most of you probably can't answer this question straight away. I mean, you're still young, you're still figuring out who you are. Even the older ones, even the parents, even me, we're all still figuring out who we are. So let's divide it into 4 areas so we can find it a little bit easier to understand. The first area is interests and experiences. I want all of you to think of one activity that you've really enjoyed doing in the last few years, whether it's for fun or to achieve something. And also think of an activity that you haven't loved doing so much. So I, for example, love playing tennis and continue to do so, but I'm not a huge fan of sewing. Think about your activities. I'm sure they'll pop into your mind straight away, and feel free to put them in the chat box to get your thoughts out there. I want to make this interactive. And I want you to think about why you love doing something and why you don't love doing the other thing. I love tennis because it brings me a lot of enjoyment and keeps me active and healthy, and also gives me a sense of accomplishment when I beat my opponent. I don't like sewing because honestly, I don't have the patience for it. So now go back to the activity that you thought of. Why do you like it so much? And why do you continue to do it? It's definitely an interest of yours if you keep going back to it, and this interest is going to help you decide the type of study path you choose. But to do that, you need a holistic view of all your interests and the individual experiences you have with each of those interests. So as an example, my other interests growing up and even now include learning languages, traveling, playing a variety of sports, playing the piano, debating, international politics, and education. This is just a snippet of the activities that I've participated in the last 5 to 10 years. And in the same way, I want you now or after this session to write down at least 5 activities you've participated in and that you've loved doing. Alternatively, I also want you to write down 5 activities that you aren't so interested in and think about why. Soon you'll have your list side by side of what you love doing and what you think you could probably get by without. Learn from these lists. Think about the aspects of each activity that interest you and think about the aspects that don't from your second list. Think about why. Your experiences during each activity that does or does not interest you is going to shape who you become and how you think about what you want to study or the profession you want to undertake. You may have heard many people tell you that it's not about the end result, it's about the journey. And that's actually really, really true. It's how you feel through each of your activities, how you respond to them, and how you continue to build upon them that will determine what you choose to do later on. So make those lists I told you about and make them as long as you want. The second area to look at here when we talk about studying abroad and talk about who we are your skills, hard skills and soft skills. Let's break them down. So hard skills are those that you learn and acquire through school, courses, or some sort of formal training. So for example, how good you are at maths, English, your grades, all of these are hard skills. Having a large hard skill set is a really good, solid base for your soft skills. Broadly, academics is a purely hard skill. Life hack, there is so much more out there than just academics. Soft skills are those that are innately within you, and you continuously develop to strengthen them. That doesn't mean you can't learn them, but it's not like learning maths or English. These days, you may have heard the term 21st century skills being thrown around quite a bit. And these are basically your soft skills because these days, hard skills just don't cut it anymore. Instead of you coming up with your soft skills, I'm going to go through a list of them, which are the top 10 soft skills in demand for today's job market, because I know the possibilities here are quite endless. So these are the most important ones that you probably need. And I want you to say yes, write it in the chat box, even think yes if you think you have them. Maybe if you think maybe you do, maybe you don't, and no if you think you really don't. So feel free to put it in the chat box. Feel free to think it. Feel free to say it out loud if your parents are around you. It's up to you. So the first one is organization. How organized are you really? I mean, this is quite an important one, and it's a skill that you learn over time. The second is teamwork. So in your sports at school, during doing various activities, class projects, I mean, you have to work in a team even later on in life, at university, at work. You do have a lot of teamwork that you need to be a part of. So that's really important. Number third, and probably my most favorite, is actually punctuality. I'm a person that's always 10 minutes early to everything, no matter what it is. And that works against me sometimes because I get really annoyed if someone's late. But it's my personal favorite. And being punctual is quite important. Number 4 is critical thinking and problem solving. I mean, if you're still in year 8 or 9, these skills are going to slowly develop. It's going to take a lot of time. If you're in year 12, they're probably a little bit more developed. But this is one that you really learn properly at university. The next one is social and cross-cultural skills. So you develop these through travel, through talking with different people of different cultures. I mean, we're here in Oman. There are a lot of different people with different cultures here, and just interacting with them is going to open things up quite a bit. The next is creativity. This doesn't just mean you're good at art and drawing. I'm really bad at drawing, so that means I'm not creative at all. But, it can be creative in a variety of things like creative thinking and it's quite variable. Interpersonal communication, How good are you at getting your point of view across? I mean, this is something that's really important. I'm giving my point of view to you now. If you can't understand me, then I'm not doing my job right. So, that's something important too. The next one is adaptability. I think this is a big one because we've all had to really adapt during COVID-19. Everything's changed. You were all doing online classes, and some of you probably hated it, and some of you probably were like, oh, cool, we get to stay at home all the time. But, we have to adapt, we have to change with the times, and that's just part of how we grow. The next one is motivation and perseverance. Determination is so important. I mean, if you're motivated, if you're determined, you probably can achieve anything. And the final one is confidence. And this is the skill that actually ties them all together. All of the 9 skills that I've mentioned above can be improved by building your confidence, but your confidence can also be improved by building these 9 skills. It works both ways. It's a little bit tricky, but have a think about that. And to all of the soft skills that you answered no to, remember the yes, no exercise I told you about, I want you to think again. Why don't you think you have them? And what can you do to make sure that you start to develop them? How do we develop soft skills? Let me give you 5 life hacks to develop your soft skills and bring in new ones. So these are pretty simple and things you probably already do. The first one is extracurricular activities. So, sports, music, dance, just different things outside of your academics. The second is building relationships. I know for a lot of you, it's probably easier to stick within your comfort zone, just talk to the people talk to, just that little group, but it's really good to meet new people, push yourself outside your comfort zone, which goes to my next point. We have to be willing to do that. We have to be willing to push ourselves outside our comfort zone because that's how we grow. I always think that if I'm outside my comfort zone at least once per day, then I'm doing something right. But if I feel comfortable all the time, then I'm not really growing and learning. So I always think about that. The next is self-reflection. This is tricky because sometimes we just get wrapped up in things, but we just have to sometimes take a step back, look at who we are, what's happening, and then take it from there. And number 5, it does happen organically. Yes, in a sense, 21st century skills are developed organically. The environment you grow up in, your genes, your family, the way that you're raised, your hard skill development also contributes to the way you pick up soft skills and vice versa. So to our 3rd and 4th points, which I'm going to be really brief with here, who you are and what you achieve, these are both factors that contribute to who you become. So those are my 4 areas to, self-assess. And now let's turn to see what's out there. So we need to know what exists out there to understand what is right for us. There are endless opportunities out there when we look at study paths and careers. There's a myriad of options that we have to choose from. IT doesn't necessarily mean just being great at technology and computers anymore. Within the IT field, you can choose to study hundreds of different specializations, including computer science, big data, artificial intelligence. Imagine being in a supermarket to buy water. I mean, how many different types of water can there actually be? But there are. Imagine staring at all your different options and trying to figure out which would be the best for you. That's kind of what it's like these days when it comes to choosing your study path, university, and eventually your career. So when we think about what to study after school and later on in our lives, I think rather than the actual course, most people living in the Middle East and South Asia think about the country. So let's look at some examples of countries first. Australia. So being born and brought up there, I'm going to be a little bit biased towards Australia. I want to try to give you some information about each country that you're probably not going to find online. So Australia is one of the world leaders in all forms of education, including its universities. Plus, your professors are sometimes famous. I had quite a few famous professors during my time at the University of Melbourne. We had a couple of ambassadors come speak to us, so that was pretty cool. Canada is cold for sure, but the co-op programs there offered by universities means that you're guaranteed work placements in your field while you're actually studying. So that's something really cool. Asia, countries like Singapore and Malaysia house some of the world's top international campuses from the UK and Australia. at a very budget-friendly price. So you get the exact same degree at the end that you would from an Australian or UK university, but much cheaper. And India, obviously, a lot of you will go back to India, and there is an up and coming workforce in India. There's a lot of demand for a lot of jobs, and there's a good base there for a lot of you, and there are some great opportunities. So, India is definitely a great place to go back to. UAE, in the same way, the UAE has similar international campuses at a fraction of the cost, like you wouldn't even believe. A lot of parents actually come to me and they say, we can't afford Australia, because Australia, yes, it can be expensive. We can't afford this, we can't afford that. What do you recommend? And I always recommend the UAE because they have those Australian universities, and it can be cheaper than studying in India at times. It can be cheaper than studying in Oman at times. So that's something that I really urge all of you to consider, and you can come speak to us about that in the office. Europe, so there are some great countries here like Spain, Turkey, Russia, Georgia, Switzerland. Although the types of degrees here might be a little bit more limited than places like Australia, there's still a huge variety of these degrees, and also extremely affordable and high quality in terms of the universities that we actually partner with at StudyCo. Europe is becoming increasingly popular with international and Indian students. New Zealand, so has some great job opportunities. Being small but efficient does have its perks. UK, this is quite a classic one. It's closer in proximity, and if you love football, it's a really good option. The US, so this is also another classic one, and there is a certain charm about the US and studying there that you probably don't find anywhere else in the world. For all the countries that I've just mentioned, plus so many more, come to us at StudyCo and we can help you pick the right one to suit all of your needs. Trust me, there is going to be a country that's right for you, even if it isn't on that list. So you can come to us with any country you want and we can help you find a university. So while you're thinking about the country, you're definitely thinking about what you want to study. There are so many possibilities these days. If we look at traditional fields of study, we will come across engineering, law, medicine, business, and these are all really great fields to be in. We all know it's out there though. But what about those up and coming fields? The ones that you are more likely to get a job with once you graduate university with the changing labor market. I think it's these courses that are really important to learn about, so you have all the information in one place and you can actually make an informed decision. The first area of study I'd like to bring up is IT. There are many up and coming fields within the IT sector, and some of the ones are artificial intelligence specialists, game designers, and business systems analysts. Even though they are within the overarching field of IT, they are such different professions. We are becoming increasingly reliant on technology day by day and year on year. So studying computer science, software engineering, cybersecurity, and the list goes on, you will position yourself in a great strategic place so that whilst you are studying in university, you'll have a variety of jobs that will actually be available to you with the changing labor market when you graduate. But obviously IT isn't for everyone, certainly was not for me. So the second area of study I'd like to bring up and quickly touch on is renewable energy. So in Oman itself, as part of Vision 2040, the government is diversifying away from oil and looking to more forms of renewable energy like solar, wind, geothermal. This area of study will definitely give you a leg up when you're looking at your future career. The final area of study that's important to talk about is marketing, and in particular, digital marketing. How much of the time do you actually buy something or avail a service after you've seen it on social media? How many of you open Instagram every single day? Social media is just a small part of what a digital marketing specialist does, but it's an important one. Online is the new way to advertise, and Google is one of the only tools that I know we all use to search for things. So studying digital marketing is going to be the fastest changing course you've probably ever studied, but also a profession that's increasing in demand daily. Some other great fields to be a part of in the next decade or so that deserve a mention, but we don't have time to talk about, include nurses, psychologists, financial analysts, and software developers. So please come talk to me or any of our staff at StudyCo for any profession you're looking at and these ones I mentioned, and we can discuss it one-on-one. My colleague's going to post in a Calendly link so you can, schedule that appointment straight away if you want to, until the end of December, and then after that too. So everything I mentioned above can be studied as a diploma, bachelor's, or master's, and a PhD, obviously, much, much later on in life, which will give you the appropriate footing to land the kind of job you are looking for. But if you're already studying something else or already working and you want to upskill a little bit, you can also study everything I've mentioned as an online short course. So you can even study English online, not just as a language, but for a variety of professions. All of these courses can range from a few hours to a few months. And if you're interested, obviously, we're here to help at StudyCo. And I know I probably bombarded you with a lot of information in a very small amount of time. And now you're wondering, how are you actually going to pick the right course for you? Well, sometimes this happens naturally by process of elimination, or you really just have to sit down and think about it. The study path you choose is highly dependent on your skills, interests, personality, and values that I talked about. Aside from this, I hope that you choose to do something you love, even if it's a little bit left field, because then you'll be really happy, you'll work even harder, and you'll end up being a lot more successful. It's a really great journey to be on. Now that we've spoken about countries and courses, I want to turn your attention to the final stage of picking your study path and future career. That's right, it's time to talk universities. Why is it important to pick the right university? Well, it's not just important to pick a good university, it's important to pick the right university for you. And what do I mean by this? Well, I guess this all comes back to who you are, and it depends on a lot of other factors. So let me give you a quick step-by-step approach so you're able to pick a university based on what's right for you. Narrow down your list of countries. Usually we recommend no more than 1 or 2, at the most 3, just so you have a few in mind that you're really targeting. The second thing is to decide your area of study based on everything we've discussed, and most of you would obviously be at the bachelor's level after you finish school. And the third would be to narrow this down even further to a specific course title or name, and we can help you with that. Number 4 is to look at your predicted grades at school and figure out what kind of ranking are you looking for in your universities? Are you looking to go all the way to the top, or would you like something in the middle to suit you a little bit better? And number 5 is to figure out your budget for tuition fees and living expenses. As much as I don't like to put a price tag on education, I want to give you a practical approach. And this is something that's really important to consider for parents and for students. So I've definitely made this process sound a lot easier than it is because it's very simplified and condensed, which is why I have one last step that will guarantee you pick the right university for you. Come to StudyCo. Honestly, you don't have to do this alone because this is what we do every single day. We talk to students. We have expert counselors and consultants that can help students achieve their dreams. And because we believe that it's such an important part of the process, we don't charge a thing for our services either. And you will then be ready to pick your university. So I hope I've been able to take away some of the stress that all you students and parents might be having out there when it comes to picking the right study path and career. And remember, stay true to yourself and always do what you love. So entry requirements and tuition fees. I know that this is the topic that most parents and students are always concerned about. It's always on your minds, and which is why it's really important to talk about. And I want to just assure all of you before I say anything about this that tuition fees don't have to be a limit. They don't have to be an obstacle because we will always find something to suit your budget and your needs. You never have to worry about that. Tuition fees vary by course and country, and it's difficult for me to give exact figures on tuition costs. I'm sure a lot of the universities are already doing that with the sessions you're going to without knowing, because I don't actually know what all of you are looking for, and it varies by course and by country. But I can give you a very brief overview of the well-estimated types of fees you're looking at. There is a perception that Australia is extremely expensive. And yes, it can be, but it doesn't have to. In fact, a large majority of Australian universities are offering up to 50% scholarships at the time of application across most of their courses. And this is for the entire duration of your studies. Likelihood is, if you're meeting or watching an Australian university at Avenir, you have a high chance to get a really good scholarship since you'll be applying through StudyCo as well. In terms of Canada, there is a range of options from the most budget friendly to your top universities as well. Scholarships are not as plentiful as Australia, but there will be something to suit your budget based on the province and of course your course. And if you look towards the international and local campuses in Asia and the UAE, you will find that these are a lot cheaper than the respective campuses in Australia and the UK. These campuses can also take an additional 40% off your tuition fees. Europe can be expensive, but affordable. You have every option you can possibly imagine here. Medicine is usually quite expensive across the world, but in Europe, this can be very affordable. The UK, Ireland, US, since we don't have a lot of time, I'm just going to brush over this real quick, that they have similar fee structures and you have scholarships available here as well. So just to quickly touch on scholarships. When we apply for you at StudyCo, you are automatically assessed for a scholarship at the university based on your grades and the fact that you've actually gone through us and we are submitting a quality application for you. So we can request for these scholarships as well on your behalf, and a lot of them are quite achievable. And when you're with us, we ensure that you actually do get the best scholarship that you are eligible for based on everything. We look at everything. In addition, if you give us your budget and have a really specific request, we can assure you that we will find an option to suit you. Tuition fees, living costs, these really aren't a barrier to a quality education. Let us do the hard work to begin with, because when you reach university, trust me, you'll have a lot of hard work to do for yourself. So if we take a look at entry requirements, again, these vary by course and country, but here are the basics you need to know. So if you are doing the CBSE, this is enough in most cases. In 99% of cases, the CBSE is enough. You don't need to sit the SATs. A lot of parents come to me, they're like, our child has done the SATs, it's all good, it's all done. I'm like, but you don't need it. Unless you're aiming, for your Harvard, for your Princeton, Yale, you don't need your SATs. I highly recommend that you focus on your CBSE alone. And if you have any doubts, just come to us and ask, look, do I need to sit the SATs? Because if you don't waste your time doing that. In terms of English tests, yes, there are so many out there. And yes, you need a recognized English test. We recommend the PTE or the IELTS, no matter which country you're going to abroad. You'll also need the PTE or IELTS for your visa processing. So that's why it's really important. And these are usually valid for 2 years. And we actually have a competition that we're going to run on Instagram soon. And if you enter, you could actually win a free PTE test valued at $210 US. So might be something worth considering. And there are various tests if you want to study medicine. So for a direct entry like the ISAT, UCAT, there are all tests that are mandatory, vary by country. I'm sure a lot of you are planning to sit the NEET as well if you're going to study medicine in India. And of course, in addition, there are a list of documents required, and we will guide you through what's required for each country. And in terms of scores required, these are extremely variable, mainly by course and also by the university you would like to attend. What we usually suggest to students is to provide us with their predicted marks or scores, what they think they're going to get. So what do you think you're going to get? And then we provide options based on that because it works best for everyone. I already gave you a step-by-step approach as to how to pick your university with our guidance, but I also quickly want to go through now how we can help you at StudyCo to make your journey oh so easy. So we have expert counselors that counsel you right from the very beginning, no matter how unsure you are, right up until you know exactly what you want to do. Then we do all your applications for you. We have a specialized team for this to ensure that your application has the fastest turnaround time. We've been known to receive offers overnight at certain points. So that doesn't mean that don't apply early, but we can get offers for you really, really fast. And we can also request universities to give you application fee waivers so you don't actually have to pay a thing. We then ensure to get you any scholarships you are eligible for, as well as the final offer letter. And then we leave it to you to make your decision after you see all your offers in front of you, where are you actually going to go? Once you do, we help you pay the fees, do your health cover, find the right accommodation based on your budget, what you want. and for you when you arrive at your end destination. But the most important thing I want to highlight here is that it does not stop there. And this is why StudyCo is a little bit different to all the other, agents out there and all the other education consultants. For all you parents out there, we ensure to provide each of your students with ongoing onshore support. Once you're part of the StudyCo family, you never really leave. It's a community. So for example, we had a student in Australia studying at a Victorian university. He flew there just before COVID hit, and he was having some difficulty with his studies, and he reached out to us for some advice. So we found him tutors on the ground that could help him with his studies. And after a few months, he was back on his feet and doing great. So as parents, you always want to know that there is a second person looking out for your child, especially when you send them far, far away, and no matter what country. So that's what we do at StudyCo. We make sure that your child is comfortable from beginning to end. A high quality education is extremely important, but so is safety, well-being, and general happiness. Our service to students honestly matters more to us and more to me personally than anything else. So our students are our future, we know this, and we believe they deserve the absolute best. And we're spread across 25 countries for this reason, to make sure we're always there. And as I said, one of the perks of our service is that every single part of our service is absolutely free, because we're here to genuinely help. And once you're part of the StudyCo family, we will always help the best way we can. So to wrap up this session, I hope you all feel a little bit more in control, a little bit more excited, and a little more inspired to kick off your study abroad journey. Yes, it is hard. There is no sugarcoating it, but the skills you will learn and the person you will become is one that you probably won't meet until you take that risk. Instead of me telling you this, we actually have an alumni with us who studied in Australia and is now in Oman, who will describe his study journey to you and speak to you student to student. Before I hand it over to Alawi though, I urge all of you to book an appointment with us at StudyCo through the link that we've provided in the chat box and have a chat, just have a casual, friendly chat one-on-one. And because we really can help and we are always there for you. Also follow us on Instagram at studyco.arabia because we have some very cool giveaways that you can enter to win. And before I go, I'd like to leave all of you students with something that impacted me, and I hope it impacts you in the same way. I still remember when I was in class 8, a long time ago, not too long, but a long time ago, one of my teachers told me that there's no such thing as a silly question. Now, this was quite some time ago, but it still stuck with me. And why is that? Because from that day onwards, I felt confident in my thoughts and I wasn't scared to ever ask a question. Why should anyone be made fun of for asking something that they want the answer to and that they think is important to them? Now, when I want to ask a question, I literally just ask it. I don't even think twice, because in my opinion, asking questions is one of the most important ways to develop yourself. When we talk about trying to figure out who we are to find the right study journey for yourself, we are not only looking at who we are right now, but who we want to become. So ask those questions and never be discouraged to do so. That's how you learn, that's how you grow, and that's how you push yourself to adapt to this rapidly changing world. You're not going to get into a great uni just because you've gone through StudyCo. You're going to get into a great uni with a great scholarship because at StudyCo, we will prepare you in the right way so you are ready in your own right and for yourself. That's what we do, and that's honestly what we love and what I love. So I'd now like to pass it to Alawi Alam Shahur. Alawi studied in Australia, and he's going to give just 5 minutes on a few things that'll resonate with you. So over to Alawi, and then we'll get to questions.
Assalamu alaikum. Do you hear me? Hello.
Yes.
Hi. After this amazing presentation, I think I'll be the first one to book an appointment with StudyCo. Thank you, Mubaraka. In my opinion, the opportunity to study abroad is not only about studying abroad. It's about recreating yourself once Bernard Shaw said, life is not about finding yourself. It's about creating yourself. There is no way that you will stay the same person as you are now in Oman. In fact, you are already studying abroad in a different country. You are studying in Oman. You knew now different culture, different people. You know how life is different from a country to another. That's why you have more knowledge than other people who stay at the same place where they born. So in my opinion, when I went to Australia, I was at the same age, mostly like most of you now, 17, 18. It was a new experience. Australia is one of the best countries when it comes to the living standards, the quality of life, also the universities there. First, I started in Melbourne. Then I moved from Melbourne to Sydney, and after that, from Sydney to Canberra. So I did my study in 3 universities, 3 cities. And at the same time, I had also a study abroad program, which is a short-term exchange. It was in the UK. So in my opinion, it's helpful because you will know different cities. From Melbourne to Sydney, for example, Melbourne was the most livable cities for 6 years. And at the same time, I was there in Melbourne. Then I moved to Sydney. Sydney is bigger. It's similar to what you would see in New York or London or other type of cities. Then to Canberra. Canberra is the capital. It's calm, not much of events there, but at the same time, it will help you to study. There's an advantage and disadvantage in every city, but you won't know what you will like unless you try it first. So when I went there, I thought Melbourne will be the best. And then after I explored Sydney, I found it better. And then I changed my opinion, and Canberra was the best for me. There is nothing which will suit everyone. Every person will have his own experience. Maybe you will like a calm place. Maybe you will like to live in a big city. Maybe it's in a small village or town. It depends on you. But if you ask me, I would say try everything. Move from a university to another. As an international student, you could study your foundation degree or diploma in one university, and then you could complete your bachelor degree in another, and then you could study in your master degree in different country at all, and you will live different experiences. And by doing that, you will learn different languages. You will see different people. You'll know how the world is going. And now also this could help you finding job opportunities, knowing different people, joining a lot of clubs or social or student clubs also in different countries. If there's something that I think you need to focus on, it's your life there. It's not about only studying. It's about living. Live life, dream big, live big, try to do whatever you could do in your time. Don't just, I won't say waste it in studying, but study at the same time, work. You could get money by working part-time. Different countries like Australia, you could work, I think, 20 hours or more per week. And this will help you getting more money. You will be able to be self-resilient. You will be dependent on yourself. Maybe you won't need the help of your family. Maybe you will be able to help them in India or in Oman or wherever they are. You will get job opportunities. Try also to see where are the countries that are looking for who could work at the same time. Study and work, enjoy your time, go in the weekend, try to live your life. Don't just expect that you will live your life in the same lifestyle, with the same people you knew from 20 or 15 years, whatever. it's a really amazing opportunity to recreate yourself, to create a new life for yourself. If there is any question or anything that I could help with, just let me know. And I hope all the best for all of you. You are in a critical moment of your lives. You will choose the route to where you will be after. Maybe it will, by in this moment, you are deciding who you will be in the rest of your life. It's really important. So go to StudyCo, ask them, because they know better than you what are the opportunities in the whole world right now. That's what they do. That's what they do for life. They are from 8 to 5 p.m. Doing this every day. They could help you maybe in Europe, in Asia, in Dubai, in Oman, in India itself. All the best for all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Alawi. I think we'll pass it back to the compers.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir and ma'am. It was truly an enriching and empowering session. Ma'am, may I now invite our moderator for the session to share with you the questions that have been raised by our valued audience.
Sure.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you doing?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. The session was really enlightening to, I guess, most of the students here. Because most of the time children plan, but it's very difficult to execute.
Yes.
And this was a complete guidance for all of them. So thank you so much for sharing your information with all of us.
Pleasure, pleasure.
There are a few questions in the chat box, and the first one would be, should we go abroad for bachelor's degree, or should we go abroad for a master's degree after doing bachelor's in India? Would you advise that?
All right, so this is obviously a very personal choice, but my advice to you would be, think about your end goal. What do you want later on in life? And do you want that exposure straight away? Because if you want to go abroad, if you want to start developing really fast, these are your most formative years. So I always advise everyone, like straight after school, just jump in, put yourself out there and see where it takes you. And if you don't want to, jump right in and go abroad for that bachelor's degree like Australia or the UK, it's a little bit far. Go to the UAE, go to Asia, it's a little bit cheaper. You can do an international degree there and then, have that recognized for your master's. So I always urge you to jump right in, go straight in. I'm a straight shooter, I just go for it. So that's what I would recommend, but obviously we can assess that on a case-by-case basis for you, and we can see exactly where you want to end up and where you want to go in life, and we can take it from there.
Okay, thank you. I would also like to know, do you provide sponsors for students who may not be able to afford certain tuition fees of the university? Do you help the children find sponsors?
As I mentioned, we can help students finding scholarships, and we can help you fit within a budget. So obviously sponsors is something separate, but we can definitely assist with absolutely anything. Yes, we can. The short answer is yes. But basically, if you come to us with a budget and you come to us saying, this is what I want, then we can find something. We can always find something. So yes.
Okay, that's good. And would you provide, like, where do the children have to connect for one-on-one sessions if they want to take from StudyCo?
Yeah, so basically my colleague Mace, she's just put a Calendly link into the chat box.
Okay.
And that's just booking a 30-minute consultation with us. We have dates available right up until the middle of December. And these are in-person consultations in our office. Most of you are based in Oman, but if you're in other countries, you can WhatsApp us on the WhatsApp number provided as well, and we can link you up with any of the other countries. So that's how you do it, or you can call us or WhatsApp us and book it in person. That's not a problem.
Okay, and there's one more question wherein the student has already found a scholarship, but it's offered only to 250 students. So could you help that student get that scholarship or something?
Yeah, definitely. So we have all the processes in place. Even if you have, if you have set scholarships in mind, if you know exactly what you want, we can just assist you with that very last step in getting there. So yes, the answer is yes to probably everything, because that's what we do. So yes.
I really do appreciate the way StudyCo functions, because I wish I would have got this session back in time. So I would have probably learned in a better or a greater university abroad. Thank
No,
you
no
so
worries.
much for sharing your information with us.
No worries at all.
I think, uh, let me, okay, based on your view, which country is best for commerce related studies?
For which related study, sorry?
Commerce.
Commerce. Okay,
Yeah.
so commerce is really broad. And within that, there's accounting, there's finance, there's so much. All countries are really, really good for commerce. It's a very, very broad question. So I would suggest you narrow that down based on where you maybe want to live one day, what kind of budget you're looking at, and what your grades are. So that's how I suggest you narrow down the process. But in general, Australia, obviously, putting my bias aside, Australia is really, really good at the whole business. The professors there are just top quality, top notch. So that's really good. And also the UAE has those Australian universities. Even the UK, Canada, a lot of people are going to Canada to study international business. International business is really big right now. So yeah, the options are endless, as I said. So speak to us one-on-one so we can help.
I think all the answers are yes. So I think students can just opt to speak to you all one-on-one. That will be more personal for you, for the kids
Exactly.
also, for the students.
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ms. Mubaraka, for sharing the information.
No, no worries, Shamita.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We are truly grateful for your relevant, valued, and patient answers to all our queries. I'm sure the participants have got a true picture about the prospects available for them at your esteemed organization. Attendees, do remember to fill in the feedback form, which is available in the chat box as well as on www.aveniroman.com. As we have come to an end of this session, I reckon it a privilege to put my gratitude into words. It is my pleasure to propose the vote of thanks. On behalf of Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir, the organizing team, and the entire audience, let me first express a profound gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq Al Said for the magnanimous benevolence showered on the Indian diaspora in the Sultanate of Oman. May the Almighty shower abundant blessings on His Majesty and this peaceful and prosperous country of our residence. We extend heartfelt thanks to our eminent speaker, Ms. Mubaraka. Thank you, ma'am. The session was truly informative. It would certainly guide us on a path towards higher education. Our deepest sense of appreciation and gratitude to Dr. Shivakumar Manikam, Chairman, Board of Directors, Indian Schools in the Sultanate of Oman, Senior Principal and Education Advisor, Board of Directors, Indian Schools in the Sultanate of Oman, Mr. M.P. Vinobha, other valued members of the board, acclaimed officials from CBSE, distinguished officials from the Indian Embassy. Thank you, sirs and ma'ams, for your encouraging presence and guidance at all times. Our sincere thanks to Mr. Alkesh Joshi, the President, Indian School Wadi Kabir Management Committee, and other members of the committee for the overwhelming encouragement at all times.
I also wish to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude to a tower of strength and source of motivation, our beloved principal, Mr. D.N. Rao, honorable principals of all the participating schools in the Middle East and North Africa region, vice principals, assistant vice principals, coordinators, supervisors, and the entire teaching community of all the participating schools for their support, guidance, and active involvement. We are indeed grateful to our platinum sponsor StudyCo, our gold sponsors, the Jain Group of Institutions, Grey Matter Academics, Sri Ramachandra Institute of Higher Education, and the Vellore Institute of Technology. Our bronze sponsors, the Middle East College, the Thapar University, the MIT World Peace University in Pune, and the Dallas Baptist University. Our digital partner Spectrum, our media partner, the Arabian Stories, and all our valued donors. I wish to thank each and every student and parent for their valuable presence in making this session of our Global Career Fair, Avenir 2021, a grand event. An event of this kind requires the coordination of a committed team. My earnest and heartfelt thank you to my ISWK team working behind the scenes tirelessly and making Avenir 2021 a tangible reality. Last but not the least, I thank Almighty God for making this session a great success. Thank you all, and we will see you soon for the next session. Tomorrow, we have sessions with the University of Sydney, Australia, the College of Banking and Financial Studies, and the Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology from 9:30 to 10:15 a.m. simultaneously. Take care and have a wonderful evening ahead. Dear audience, you are reminded to fill in the feedback form which has been posted in the chat box. Those who are viewing us on YouTube, please fill in the feedback form which has been posted in the description box below. Signing off for the day are your compares Akshaya and Abbas Rizvi. Thank you and a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Abbas. Thank you, Akshaya, and thank you, Shamita.
Thank you, ma'am.